So welcome to the first ever video on the Don't Get Over It, Just Get Through It channel. I'm Jared and I set up this channel and I'm starting these videos because I've been on a bit of a journey over the past few years. Like a lot of people in this world, I've been through my own fair share of shit and I wanted to get through everything in a natural, organic way rather than turning to medication and the other conventional routes. Most recently in February, I did a fundraiser for a local charity and I ran 10 kilometers every day throughout the month of February. And I've been off Instagram for quite a while now because I find it a very negative place. But I thought I'd get back onto it whilst I was doing the fundraiser to promote and spread the word and try and raise as much money as possible. So a couple of days into my run, bearing in mind I'm on a treadmill for about an hour and 15 minutes. It's just me alone with my own thoughts. And I was thinking to myself, based on everything that I know now, what would I tell the old me or me of a few years ago that might have helped? And out of nowhere, it just hit me. The term, don't get over it, just get through it. And it hit hard. It's powerful. And I think we can all relate it to at least one aspect of our life. For me, there's multiple aspects of my life that I could relate it to. So I felt compelled to share the revelation on Instagram. So I did a little story and then I got bombarded with messages from people. People who I've not seen for a long time or spoken to for a long time. Some people who I've only ever met once reached out, shared a bit of an insight into their life and their story. And there was quite a few people who said, please can you post more of these videos whilst you're back on Instagram? So I thought, you know what, let's make it a positive place. And every day after I'd done my run, I posted a story and they were all based on different things that I've incorporated into my life over the past few years that have helped me get through my fair share of shit. So that explains the name for the channel. So what I'm going to do, obviously I finished the run, completed it, raised a nice amount of money, which we're really happy with. People said, look, it's only a 1 minute snippet on Instagram stories. So you can't really go into too much detail, and I would love to have gone into so much detail. So people said, look, can you make some more videos for us please, because we want to know more. So this is where the channel's come about. So to give you a bit of background on myself, I'm a massive believer that mental health instabilities or mental health issues, depression, anxiety, anything like that, it's not a chemical imbalance in our brains. It's solely based on some form of trauma. Obviously the word trauma makes something sound really bad, and it can be, but we all tackle trauma differently. So you might have nearly got run over on the street and that could have been a really traumatic experience for you, and that's still trauma. It might not have been traumatic if it happened to me, but it's up to you how you perceive trauma, and it will affect people differently. So from my personal perspective, I can pick out three main trauma points in my life. I'm nearly 36 now. The first bit of trauma happened when I was around 18. So trauma number one, 18, first job. I was young, I was naive, not so immature, but barely any life experience at 18, coming out of school, not knowing what I wanted to do. Went into a job working with family. The long and short, I was there for 6.5 years, and by the end of it, I just hated it. I was just it wasn't the right time for me. If I knew everything I knew now back then, it'd be a different story. And it was just heavy for someone at my age at that point of life, working long days, the pay wasn't amazing, the progression was really kind of slow. Obviously expectations are so much higher with it being family. There's so much more emotions that get involved, and it was one of those where it got me to a point where it was just very hard to handle. And especially at that age, no one really talks about mental health issues or the impact that these things might have. So I ended up calling it a day at that job. I got out and I actually went to Australia for a year, and I had the most phenomenal, life-changing year away in Australia that completely shaped up the rest of my life. So I'm appreciative for all that I went through in the old job, because if I hadn't gone through that, I probably would never have gone to Australia. So that's trauma point number one. Trauma point number two, sadly, I lost my mum just 9 years ago. It was the anniversary last week. And unfortunately, my mum passed of cancer. She got ovarian cancer. No one surpasses 5.5 years. Like, that's top end if you're lucky. My mum was a fighter, massive believer in positivity, and she just about got past the 5.5 year mark. So at the time I was about 25, 26, and I was living at home with my dad. I've got a big family. So I've got a sister and I've got 3 brothers, all of them who are married with children. At the time I was living at home, and my mum's only wish was that she wanted to stay at home. She didn't want to go into a hospice, she didn't want to go into hospital. So the responsibility was on all of us, but predominantly myself and my dad. We were the ones being at home. So I'm not going to go into detail on this front, but you can imagine just how horrific it would have been watching that progress of seeing healthy mum gradually decrease, get worse, and then fall really poorly, and then obviously get to the point of passing. You see some shit, you hear some shit, and especially at that age, you know, it's going to hit you hard. On a side note, you're probably going to see the cats. I've got 2 cats. This is Archie, probably feature quite a lot in the videos. This is actually their room that they're kindly sharing with me, so just ignore him. So yeah, trauma point number 2, the loss of my mum. A lot went on in that space of time, which is, again, it's a lot to take on. And then in most recent years, trauma point number 3 was going through a really bad breakup. So there's been other little traumas in between. The thing is, I'm at a point in life now where what I was classing as traumas actually aren't traumas. There's small minor things that I can deal with now. But the most important thing for me is that I'm a massive believer in everything happens for a reason, and what's meant to be will be. So I trust the process, and I know that right now I'm exactly where I'm meant to be in life. And right now, after all the shit that I've dealt with over the years, it's put me in such good stead for the future. And I feel privileged to be able to share everything that I now know with other people, because just from the Instagram stories, I've got about 20 messages printed out that for inspiration of really touching words that people sent my way. And, you know, I get such a kick out of being able to help people any way that I can. So I'm really excited to start this channel. And yeah, if I was to try and describe what I'm going to go on about in any way, I kind of see it as like an all-round handbook for anyone who's trying to work on self-care and personal developments. I mean, you can see some of the books at the back there. I spend a lot of time reading books. I spend a lot of time listening to podcasts. I will do as much as I can to go down the natural organic route to fix any sort of mental instabilities, and I will not turn to medication. I'm not taking medication. I refuse. It only masks the problem. It's still there. I'm a believer of tackling it head on. We're going to go through shit. Times are going to be shit. Just like we enjoy all the good times, you know, we know that they're going to pass, and the same with bad times. We won't enjoy them, but they're going to pass. So I want to basically just save you the time and the hours of reading all these books, and I'm going to condense it down into almost like a little how-to manual for what helped me. So what helped me won't necessarily help you. I really, really hope it does, because if you were to have seen me even a year ago, I'd be unrecognisable. I mean, I've always been known, I'd like to think, as a happy, positive, you know, the bit of a joker and everything else. And I went through too many spells in life where I was just miserable, where the mental instabilities got the better of me. And not only that, I put on a lot of weight. I was over 17 stone at one point, and I just thought like I'd almost hit rock bottom. So something had to give. And again, I'm glad that I've gone through all of that, because I can sit here now and just share everything that I know. So after this, I'm going to post as many videos as I can, really, of just different things that I've used over time that have helped me on my journey and that I've benefited from. And the main aim, if I can help just one person from this video or the series of videos, then honestly I'll take so much pleasure in that. So I hope you like and subscribe the page, and I'll post the videos as often as I can. And I'd love to hear any comments or any feedback, or if there's anything you want to ask about. I mean, I just want to make it really, really clear. I'm not a trained professional. I'm not qualified or anything like that. I'm just a normal person who's gone through shit like the rest of us, and I just want to share some knowledge that I've learned over the years, because if it's got me to a place where I would call 100% happiness, that doesn't mean I've got everything in my life that I'd like or I'd want, but I will take happiness over anything else. So if I can help someone else get on a journey or inspire anyone else to kind of follow suit, then mission accomplished. A lot more will make sense in future videos. So appreciate you watching this one, and yeah, more videos coming soon.